Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chris from StrategyBeam, and today we're going to take a look at a very important topic that has a big impact on your company's website. Today we're going to look at how to take actionable copywriting tips for mobile device usage. The first thing we want to look at is to understand why focusing on mobile content optimization is important. If you look at your Google Analytics, you'll notice that year over year, you likely have an increase of mobile device consumption. This is where your customers and prospects are consuming content on your website through mobile devices such as smartphones or tablets. For most of my clients, including myself, year over year has shown significant increase in device consumption. This just means that as time goes on, we're going to be looking towards mobile devices to offer up the information and answers that we need based on questions and needs of our audience. So in order to make great content, it needs to meet the customer where they are. In this case, we need to optimize and format content based on where your customers are as they consume your content. Since mobile customers are on the go, we want to make sure that we optimize that content around how they're viewing your website. The first point to think about is getting straight to the point. Since mobile devices are used by consumers who are on the go, we would consider them mobile readers. Think of them being on the bus, walking to the store, being a passenger in a car, whatever it might be. They're not sitting at their desk with a mouse looking at a desktop monitor. So we want to optimize our content around how they're consuming our information. The first thing we want to do is have a great opening sentence to really grab the attention and qualify why that consumer should be interested in what we're talking about. Then once we qualify them and grab their attention, we can start talking about features or other information, but this can only come after we have engaged them. In general, we could put important information at the top of pages or paragraphs or sections, and then after that use supporting content. This just helps further qualify consumers so that once they know that they're reading the information that they need, then it's up to them and they have the freedom to go further down the content and read more supporting content. Next, we want to always make sure that our content is short, so keeping it short. Since consumers are looking at content on mobile devices that have smaller screens, we also want to use shorter sentences. I like to keep my sentences and paragraphs at about 2 to 3 sentences each, and this just makes sure that I don't create a large block of text. It's easier to consume both on mobile and desktop devices. So 2 to 3 sentences per paragraph is really a go-to length that I like to use. And then breaking up blocks of text. There's nothing worse on a mobile device than reading a large block of text that just looks like it was written on a giant wall. That's going to bounce your consumer away from your page because they're just going to get overwhelmed. But also large blocks of text tend to have lower conversion rates because it's harder to pick out the information that's most important. Kind of pointing back to the last point that said you're keeping the most important information at the top and then supporting content below that. So always break up your blocks of text, and we'll go into some ways that you can do this. The next point is to format your content for scanability. Just think about how you use a mobile device. You usually have it in one hand and you're just scrolling with your thumb or your index finger, and this is the same way that your consumers view your website on mobile devices. So this means that all of your content should be easy to scan. And one way to do this is using bullet points. Bullet points are a great way to display information, to show features, and also to list out benefits of your product or service. It's also a way that you can break up content, which, referring back to the previous point, is what you want to be doing with content optimized for mobile devices. Always use main headlines such as H2 tags to provide context. This helps to kind of provide your customer with a little bit of guidance as to what to expect in each section. And then use subheadings and subheadlines such as H3, H4 to summarize key points. Then also use bold text throughout your paragraphs. This is a great way to highlight important information, but it also helps to draw your consumer's eye towards desired areas of paragraphs. I usually like to highlight LSI, latent semantic indexing keywords in each paragraph in bold, because this allows me to draw the eye of consumers so that it helps qualify them. And also Google, through multiple tests, has been shown to look at that B, the bolding HTML, when it goes and gives priority to different keywords. And then you always want to have an awesome CTA. Call to actions are really the bread and the butter. It's the things that, this is the information that helps push your consumer through the customer journey from one page to the next, from just looking over your products to actually buying them. But on smaller screens, you need different CTAs. Instead of thinking about call to actions and how people use your website and interact with your content on desktop, you should think about how you use a mobile device. So people need to click on a call to action button with their thumb or index finger. This means your CTAs should be large and not easily missed, because if someone wants to go buy something, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to click buy now and then actually accidentally clicking a different link. So this just goes into user experience. And then also make your CTA buttons stand out. This is important on desktop, but even more for mobile, because your consumers are interacting with your content on smaller screens. So you need to use every tactic you can to make your CTA button stand out. Then also keep your CTA text simple and direct. This kind of goes into the previous point about keeping your content short, but it's also simplifying every aspect of your online presence, CTA text being one of them. And then I always like to have multiple call to action buttons throughout my content. Every 2 to 3 paragraphs, I like to add some form of a CTA, whether that's a button or a text link. And I think that this just really helps me to keep qualifying consumers and then changing up that text link, the CTA text, based on whatever the context is for the website in like that paragraph. So there you have it, guys. There's the overview about how to optimize content for mobile use. We went through why it's important, keeping things simple, keeping it short, breaking text up, and then also having awesome call to actions throughout your content. If you could, go ahead and give this video a like, comment, and subscribe, and then also share it with your friends, because it helps us out a lot. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them. And we look forward to working with you and talking with you on the next video. Thanks.